So what I've learned is that if at this stage you feel like your bowl is still too rough, what you can do is come over to the axe block again and basically axe away any of these spots where the hook has taken off the high spots. Now I don't think mine's too bad, so I'm just going to turn it as it is. I've been told that it's not a good habit for me to have my fist on the tool like this, but I find in these early stages of turning the bowl I can't really find another good way to get a good grasp on the tool because I don't have enough room here to put my fingers through. Although I suppose I can do it. And I guess doing it this way encourages me to try to put less force into the tool and less tension in my body. Just so you have an idea of how much practice I've had. In the first video, that was my second ever attempt at bowl turning, and now this is number 7. So I've done 5 to try and get the hang of it before I decided I would film another one. Mind you, some of those were successful. Sorry, I misspoke. This one is number 8. So, bowl number 2 was the one in the first video. My first successful bowl came right after that, and that's bowl number 3. This is bowl number 4. This one is Jacaranda. It's got an interesting kind of flat bottom on it, and I managed to turn a rim and a foot. Now, skipping a couple, this is bowl number 7. Bowl number 5 was also a success. Bowl number 6 was a failure. You'll notice the bowl isn't jumping right off the lathe anymore, and I'm pretty sure what I did to fix that was making this new mandrel. I was quite careful to make sure that the holes on it are concentric, whereas on the old one of them wore out a little bit unevenly because it was only made out of softwood. So yeah, this is a much harder mandrel, it's a little bit longer. I'm not sure if that's important, but the bowls are spinning much nicer from that alone, and that was a big breakthrough. Just not even to do with the bowls themselves. See, that's looking really good to me already, so what I've learned is just don't mess with it. If the shape looks nice, just stop fucking around with it, because if I sort of turn and turn again and try and find an even nicer shape than this, I'm just going to end up with a bowl that's really small for no reason. So I'm happy with this. Let's turn the foot and let's turn the rim. I'm going to make a little space using the tip down. Another thing is that the rim here has to be broadly proportional to the size of the bowl. Like if you make it too big or too deep, it can look a little funny or cause issues with the hollowing. we go. So that's just a little rim. I might actually have to push that a bit deeper because I got some chip out here. I'm taking this pretty slow because I've had some pretty bad catches here before. Another thing I've learned is not to make this little nubbin too skinny, or the center can actually rip its way out and then you've got no way to turn the rest of the bowl. I think this is a somewhat unconventional way of doing this part, but it's working well for me, so I'm gonna stick with it. Let's put the foot on now. So what I'm doing now is something that I kind of skipped before, but seems actually to be pretty important, which is facing the top of the bowl before you start doing anything else. Oops. I've figured out that, for me anyway, it's better to sort of create a channel and enlarge my channel as I get deeper, rather than trying to cut away the whole surface of the bowl on every single pass. So I've done a little bit off camera. I've started hollowing out the bowl, which we'll finish together. I've run down the core a little bit, and even though I said I wasn't going to, I did do a second finishing pass on the outside of the bowl after I had sharpened up my hooks a little bit, and I think the surface is looking much better, so it was a good idea for me to do that. What I'm going to try and do now is establish the thickness of the rim and get all the way to the final depth. Whoops. Alright, let's try that again. I want to start on the rim, try and thin it down. Try and rotate the tool. Start not cutting anything. I'm going to try and rotate it until it engages. There we go. Too much. Here's that catch. Looks like my rim's going to get a little thinner yet again. I used to be holding my tool like right up in and close like this, but if I take a step back and hold it further away and sort of take advantage of the leverage of the long handle, I'm having a lot less problems with this cut in particular, which I used to really struggle with. There we go. While there's still no wobble in the bowl, I should try and get a good finish on the inside here before I thin the core down anymore. On a previous one, I thinned down the core too much too soon, and then it was impossible for me to get a good finish on the outside. Let's do it. I'm going to snap it off. Let's get that grain right, and fuck, shouldn't have done that. Okay, so I thought I avoided it, but I've done the exact same mistake that I've done before, which is getting too keen on the too thin here. Okay, so I've started a new bowl from the same wood, and I've gotten it to just about the same place where we were before. Here is the previous attempt. Right, now all I need to do is finish it without breaking it, and I've got some ideas on how to do that. I think the problem I was having before is I was trying to make the rim thickness even all the way down, but really it needs to get a little bit thicker towards the base, and you need to just leave a little bit on the base, which I failed to do, so I broke right through when I snapped the core. And another breakthrough that I've just made is I managed to turn this rim to what I think is a good thickness without breaking it. Okay, so I'm going to try not to touch this now and just let that be the rim. So we'll see how we go. Let's be conservative and say that that feels pretty good. Honestly, I'm not going to mess around with that too much. I'm going to thin down the core and try and even out the bottom of the bowl before I reduce the thickness too much. Whoops. Okay, still feels like I've got a good 2-3 centimeters of thickness there, so I'm going to keep playing with it. Actually, you know what I'm actually going to do is get out my calipers and take an actual measurement, because that's something that I feel that maybe I should have done earlier. Okay, so that's our thickness, 1.5 centimeters. I'm going to try and get it down to 1. I think that seems sensible. Okay. Alright, I've got a bit of a bump here I want to smooth out, and then we're going to leave it. Okay. So you know what, it's a good thing that I checked that, because that's a lot thinner than I thought, right? I thought it was much thicker than that, just by feeling it with my fingers. That is just under 1 centimeter. It's about 9.5 mils thick, so let's leave it and we'll take the rest off when we trim the bowl. So now I just need to thin down that core and smooth out the difference there. Okay, alright, so theoretically, I should be able to just line this up with the end grain facing up and just give it a little twist. I think I'll loosen it up on the lathe first. This is where it all went wrong last time. Just a little twist. Hey! Alright. There we go. I really think that this one turned out okay. Yeah, thickness feels even, the bowl feels strong. Great. Let's do the bottom.